The Atlanta Braves took down the Milwaukee Brewers 7-1, and I want you to put the word out there that we're back up.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby, author of the Braves Today newsletter over at bravestoday.com. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. He's Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. Pointed the wrong direction again. You can follow him on social media at shortstopball. And Jake, this is what it's supposed to feel like. The Atlanta Braves roll into Milwaukee and win this one 7-1 in a game that never really, surprisingly, felt in doubt after Atlanta's 3-run fifth inning. I want to get to Chris Sale and the new order for the bullpen that we saw, and I want to do all that. But first, 11 hits for the Braves, 7 runs. You get home runs from Ronald Acuna Jr. and Matt Olson in the same inning, and then insurance from Eli White. How different do you think this team is if this is the offense that you have all season? Are you leading the division, or are you just a few behind New York for best team in the division?
Yeah, you're probably leading the division with the pitching that you got, particularly the starting pitching that you got.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was the team we all thought it would be that could hit 3 home runs a game, yeah, I mean, this team's probably right up there at the top of the division, the top of the National League, like many teams thought they would. They just haven't been, but you're absolutely right. This is what it should feel like. It's what it should look like. When Chris Sale starts against Aaron Savali, it should be a 7-1 win. So glad to see something actually work out the way that it should for the Braves.
Yeah, and I think some of the big things for me here that I noticed is, one, the top of the order all had a lot of success today. Everybody got hits. All of the every spot in the lineup got hits except for the 9-hole. Nick Allen went 0 for 4, and then Alex Verdugo went 0 for 2 before Eli White came in. And we're going to get to that in just a second because I have thoughts on Eli White versus Alex Verdugo. But Ronald Acuna Jr., 1 for 3, scores 2 runs, hits that homer. Austin Riley goes 3 for 5. He scores 2 runs, has a double. Matt Olson gets the home run, 2 RBI, walks twice. Marcell Ozuna, 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. Like, this is the contributions you're supposed to be getting from your stars. I didn't really notice anything different in this game versus a lot of the others. It just felt like everybody was playing a little bit looser, and I can't really, it seems kind of backwards, right? You would think in a losing streak, you'd want to go out there and you'd really want to get it you'd be pressing to get it done. But everybody just played really loose, made some really good swings, and cruised to an easy victory.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, with this matchup, it's
Yeah.
what should happen. I mean, this
Yeah.
is what should be happening all season long, and so it's just good to see it work out like that. You mentioned the top of the order, and I'm just looking at the numbers here as I go down the top of the order. Ronald's hitting 305 with almost 1,000 OPS. Drake Baldwin 294, 838. Riley 285 batting average, 794 OPS. You'd like to see that higher, but it's not terrible. Olson, an 817 OPS. Ozuna, 832. I think what really, and I know we're trying to be positive here because this is a win, but what really bugs me is those aren't terrible numbers. And yet this offense has still been so bad because they don't come through with runners in scoring position, and they're not getting those big hits. They're not getting the big home runs. And I think that, to me, is just, I look at the top guys in the order, and those numbers aren't bad numbers, but they're just, it's because of their inability to really get anything done. And, you know, they were 2 for 10 in runners in scoring position tonight. It's not fantastic. It's better than what they did over the weekend, where they only had 1 hit with runners in scoring position in each and every game, but you get the home runs. And look, that's what this team was built to do. As much as I want to see them be a more well-rounded offense and be able to score in different ways. And again, I know we want to be positive. They scored 7 runs, but you look at that second and fourth inning, you get 2 on to lead off the inning and can't score them. So there are still problems, but this offense was built to do what it did tonight, and that is mash and hit home runs. And when they're doing that, like you said, they're one of the best teams in baseball, especially when you get the starting pitching that they've been getting.
Yeah, and that was something. They get 2 out RBIs from Eli White. His home run was with 2 outs. And then Matt Olson also has some 2 out RBIs. And I feel like in the past, we've seen them put the ball into play with 2 outs. But to your point, it hasn't been the home runs, right? It's been the, it's been a hard hit ball that's caught. It's been a line drive single, something like that. So I'm glad to see everything kind of clicked here. To your point, could have been better, but trying to be a little more positive on it. I do want to, I got really frustrated with the Alex Verdugo at bats. For those of you who missed it, who were kind of looked away or something, in essence, he swings, I think, at one of the 6 total strikes that he sees. Maybe it was 2 total of the 6 strikes that he sees. Gets strikes out looking twice, and then they eventually go and they swap after 2 at-bats, and they put Eli White in place of Alex Verdugo. I'm at the point of Verdugo's giving you nothing defensively. He's not giving you anything on the base paths. And the at-bats he's had recently, he almost never swings at the first pitch and gets a lot of strikeouts. He swings very rarely in general. I don't really know at this point why you're not playing Eli White over Alex Verdugo. I know that Verdugo's had a better career. I know that White's been a journeyman and has come back to earth a little bit. But you could argue some of that's because he lost a lot of playing time after that that error on the base paths.
Yeah, look, I was on Team Eli White whenever Ronald came back. I was on board with playing him every day. Righty, lefty, didn't matter. I was all for putting Eli White in there because of the things you talked about. He's a good defender. He's fast, so he does something different for you on the base pass. So I've always been on playing Eli White more, but to Snit's credit, when he made that decision, Verdugo went on a hot run there and was playing really, really well at the time. But I think that's cooled off a little bit here too. He's hitting 158 in the month of June and wasn't really doing much at the end of from really May 25th on. He hasn't been doing much for the Atlanta Braves. So I agree. If the bat's gone down for Alex Verdugo and you're not really getting that professional at bat that he's in there for, which is not to strike out like we saw him do, certainly not strike out looking, but really he's in there to put the ball in play, and he's not doing that for you, then put Eli White in there, a guy that really has been hitting righties better than lefties this year anyway, so he shouldn't have been in a platoon situation. It's just you can't bat Verdugo against lefties, and you save Verdugo maybe for a good at bat late in the game against a righty too. So I'm all for putting Eli White out there. I just think he does more for you in the lineup.
Yeah, and I'll give you something here because I know you've been more into this in certain situations than I have. Eli White can lay down a bunt, I feel like, a little better than maybe Alex Verdugo can. You do have that ability as well. I do also think about that number 2 hole. Drake Baldwin, 0 for 4 today. I got that wrong earlier, and I said it here, but I've seen some people in the chat asking about Ozzie Albies maybe batting second sometimes when Drake Baldwin's not in the game. I do think, and maybe this is just me, maybe I'm thinking about the 2023 offense that was so good. I do feel like it's a lot of moving the 3, 4, 5 guys up one spot when Baldwin's not in there and moving them down. And I wonder, could you just put Ozzie in the 2 hole when Sean Murphy's the catcher and leave 3, 4, and 5 in the same spots every single day? Am I crazy for thinking that? Or is that something where Ozzie's played so well recently, maybe he's earned that number 2 spot back?
I just don't mess with Ozzie. I've always liked Ozzie more in the 5, 6 spot in the order. I just don't mess with Ozzie. I feel like we've tried this a lot, putting him at the top, and I just never feel like it really goes well. And his at-bats are not, or although I'll say the at-bats this year have been different. I mean, the walk rate is up. He is being a little bit more patient at the plate. So it is more indicative of I guess, a number 2 hitter, but I just don't mess with Ozzie. If he's feeling comfortable there in the 5, 6 spot in the order, just leave him there.
That makes sense. All right, in just a second, I want to talk about the pitching. Another dominant Chris Sale start. We saw Raisel Iglesias in the 8th and Dylan Lee in the 9th. I want to break all that down next, right here on the Braves Postcast. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. One of my favorite things to do is just sit in that leather chair right back there and watch baseball. I can sit there with the in-shell Wonderful Pistachios. You just get that little satisfying crack as you open each shell. It's like snack ASMR, right? So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And when you have your pistachios, your Wonderful Pistachios, take them to a baseball game with Game Time. You might decide last minute to head to the game. Maybe it's game day and you're like, you know what? I want to see this start. You know what? The Braves could actually win a series. I want to be there for it. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, on merch, invite a bigger group to come with you. Maybe you want more wonderful pistachios. Maybe you just need a couple extra adult beverages. Game Time makes it possible because Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. They've got incredible last-minute deals. They have clear views from your seat so you know exactly what you're in for, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Jake, what is more surprising for you from the Chris Sale start? The fact that 11 strikeouts is actually the season high for him, or the fact that he actually threw a changeup today? Because it feels like we haven't seen him throw one in like a month.
Yeah, I'll actually say though, the 11 strikeouts, I was listening on radio at that time and they said that, and I said, there's no way. With the dominant stretch that he's had, I thought for sure he'd reached at least 11 by this point. But man, I mean, it feels good. We've been talking about it all the time. You can't lose these Chris Sale starts. Yeah. So it feels good to not only get a Chris Sale start in dominant fashion, but for him to get the run support that he deserves. I mean, he has been tremendous since that little hiccup he had at the beginning of the year, whatever was going on there with the arm slot, whatever was causing it for him just to be off. He is certainly back into Cy Young form. Looks like one of the best pitchers in baseball. So, and glad to see Snick give him that eighth inning too. Unfortunately went out there and walked the batter, but I was glad to see that first time he had pitched into the eighth inning this year. I was fully on board at that point when it was a 3-1 game. I said, I don't trust anybody in that bullpen. I don't trust anybody other than Chris Sale. Just let him go. But you did get a little bit of the cushion there, and he did walk the leadoff batter in the eighth. But just fantastic stuff from Chris Sale. He's been doing it for a while now, and he finally got the run support to go along with it.
See, that was the question I was going to have, because I am fine in a vacuum for Chris Sale. 99 pitches. I mean, it was a nice pitch count, 99 pitches, 69 strikes. It was a nice pitch count to go out and let him do a little bit more. And to your point, the bullpen's been a little shaky. But with Raisel Iglesias in a new situation, pitching the eighth instead of the ninth, part of me thought that was the one situation when I would maybe not send Sale back out there. I can't talk today all of a sudden. So that Iglesias could get a clean inning versus having to come in with somebody on base. And part of me just doesn't know what to expect from Iglesias on any given day. So I don't know if that was just me being paranoid in general, and I would have been paranoid no matter what. But I did wonder about the decision. Obviously, it worked out. 2 strikeouts from Iglesias. For the most part, he kept everything down, looked a little different mechanically. It was a good showing, but I was questioning the Sale for the eighth simply because Iglesias was the guy behind him.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you want a reliever to come in with a clean inning, but once you had had a bit of a cushion there, I felt more comfortable with it. I mean, as far as the outing for Iglesias and him pitching in the eighth inning, I think it's a great out, and it looked like an Iglesias outing. 8 pitches, 3 outs. I mean, that's what we are used to seeing from him. He got 2 whiffs on 2 swings on that changeup. Nothing really over the middle of the plate, and the pitches that were supposed to be up were up. So again, I didn't think it was his best outing. He is still not throwing the slider, but he definitely got the results. And I think that's almost as big as anything right now for Raisel Iglesias. Is just getting, that's the biggest thing right now for this Braves team, is just seeing some success and seeing some results and trying to get some of that confidence back. So even if the stuff maybe wasn't as sharp as I would have liked from Raisel Iglesias, it was a 3-up, 3-down inning with two strikeouts. So you can't be mad at that, and he's got to feel good about it. So like this opportunity for Raisel Iglesias to kind of right the ship, and the Braves too as a team to just get that confidence back. Yeah,
and on the Iglesias inning, it was the top of the order too. So it was Jackson Chourio, William Contreras, Christian Yelich, guys who, I mean, maybe Contreras' OPS has struggled a little bit while he's playing through this finger injury, but I mean, it's still Jackson Chourio, who was dynamic last year. It's still Christian Yelich. We all know who Yelich is as a player. So him going out and doing that, I think, kind of was a big deal. Dylan Lee in the ninth. I need to apologize to Dylan Lee. I forgot he could just pull out 96 miles an hour whenever he wanted it. 95-8. He gets a strikeout of Reese Hoskins on a foul tip. He gets Daz Cameron to fly out. It was all fastballs. None of that great lefty slider from Dylan Lee to Daz Cameron. But then he turns around and goes a lot of sliders to Sal Frelick for the strikeout. Is Dylan Lee the guy that maybe we're sleeping on in the if you need somebody to close? Raisel Iglesias is an option. Pierce Johnson's an option. Are we kind of sleeping on Dylan Lee as an option there?
Probably. And I think it's just because we haven't seen him do it before. We've at least seen Pierce Johnson do it. But I mean, if you're talking about who do I trust the most out of the bullpen, I think it's been Dylan Lee for quite a while. I mean, since coming up, go look at his numbers. He has been incredible. And you look at this outing tonight, and it ended up not being a save situation, but you almost feel like he was gassed up like it was a save situation. I mean, you mentioned the velocity and him hitting 95-8. He had 6 whiffs on 7 swings. I mean, it was just a dominant performance from it. It certainly felt like an audition for him. He treated it like an audition because he came in and was just really, really good. So, I mean, I've been saying I think maybe they go based on matchup in the 8th and 9th inning and who's coming up and right-handed, left-handed matchups. Although I think Johnson and Lee can both get out righties and lefties. I said this on the podcast today too. I don't know, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't know too many fastball curveball closers, but certainly fastball slider is generally what you're looking for of a closer and a reliever. So I just think Dylan Lee's tool set probably better in that. Again, I just don't think we've seen him do it before, but he's certainly, has the case and has the ability to be a closer.
I'm trying to think about that fastball curveball thing. And I can't really, Will Smith used to throw fastball curveball, but I think he's kind of changed over to that slider. Yeah, he had a slider too the whole time. And I think now he's like primary slider actually. So even back then, like he had a curveball, but it wasn't his primary thing. I think you're right. That's just kind of an unusual group there, but either way, I'm excited to see what Dylan Lee can do when he gets those opportunities. All right. So again, Braves 7-1 victory. It's the first win in the month of June. So let's be excited about that. Tomorrow, 7:40, Grant Holmes versus Quinn Priester. 2 guys remarkably similar as they've been relievers in the past. They're starting now. Both of them have 3 wins and an ERA in the high 3s. Curious to see what happens on there. We will be back for another postcast to break that one down. In the meantime, do us a favor. If you're listening on audio, leave a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Braves and Locked On Sports Atlanta so you catch every single episode from Jake talking about the Braves being cooked this morning. They wanted to make him look bad by going out and winning. They listened to the show. It worked. The reverse jinx worked. Thank you for your service, Jake Mastroianni. And again, we will be back tomorrow to break down, hopefully, a series win and be set up for the sweep with Spencer Schwellenbach on the mound on Wednesday. We're manifesting, people. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Lindsay Crosby. This has been the Braves Postcast.